Hello everyone, welcome back to Shri FC. I hope you all are well and you are good, and hopefully you have had great days, and hopefully that's a future as well. And I wish the best for you. And it's time for some big Chelsea talks today. I'm very happy to be back with Chelsea talks, a special transfer show which will continue till the transfer window. There'll be regular shows in weeks, 2 to 3 every week. So please, people, do hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and please do hit the bell notification button so when the new video is up, you'll know about that, and it means a lot. Every support means a lot. And today we are going to discuss on a lot of things. We're going to discuss on Mason Mount going to Manchester United, and Darain brother here, big supporter of the channel. Big up Darain, bye. So good to see you. We are going to discuss on David Raya. We are going to discuss on Mateo Kovacic, Caicedo, Ugarte, Pochettino, Potter, Trevor Chalobah, and so many other links Chelsea have been linked to. Thank you so much, bro. So much. It means a lot, Darain, bro. And the support really gets me more going to make these thumbnails. And the show will be weekly. There will be 2-3 shows every week. We'll discuss so much, and Chelsea are moving quick. People, you have to understand that Chelsea will have to sell players before June 30. So there are going to be many updates which are going to come from Chelsea. There's going to be a lot of transfer news, a lot of players coming, a lot of players going, and it's going to be another roller coaster Chelsea transfer window. Enjoy it while you can, because once we have sorted our squad, we might not sign many players for the next 2-3 windows. This could be one of the most chaotic window we've had. And Darain, my Instagram ID is @Shri765 and Shri FC as well. I'll do put in the comment section as well. So it's Shri 765 and it's Shri FC. There are two IDs for me. So these are my Instagram IDs. So if anyone wants to follow it, it will mean a lot to me. So now coming on to the first news today and discussing on the first news today, people. And the first news that I'm going to discuss about is on Mason Mount. We all know that Mason Mount is looking like he's on the verge of leaving for Manchester United. From the January, it always looked like the Liverpool were in the leading race. Liverpool had agreed personal terms with Mason Mount. It looked like that Todd Boehly was trying to keep him before the World Cup. It's been a roller coaster drama. Then sadly, Mason got injured for 2 months. And now it looks like my guy might not even get a chance to be at Stamford Bridge for the final time. And seeing him on the pitch on the final time against Newcastle was his last day at Stamford Bridge, and he's looking so close to leaving. The club need the FFP money very badly. Chelsea need to balance the books, and they need to sign some players. And Mason Mount is going to be one of them that's going to get Chelsea a lot of money. So it's very understandable Chelsea want to let him go. And this news is by James Ollie. You can say somewhat reliable. And Reece James' new 6-year contract at Chelsea is worth around 250k. But Mason Mount is not thought to have been offered a compatible salary. And that's been going around on the Chelsea Twitter. Should Mason have been offered the salary? Should Mason have not been offered the salary? Many people are in the camp that Mason has been one of our best players for the last 3-4 years in category with Reece James, so he should be offered the same wages. And many people have been saying that you cannot give that wages to Mason. He's not at the level of Reece James. Now I will give my opinion, and I'll also want to know your opinion in the comment section. That do you think Chelsea should have offered him 250k to stay? First, I will say nobody really knows what's really going on, how much Chelsea have offered. Have we even given an offer to Mason Mount? Because Alex Goldberg is a reliable person in Chelsea news, and he said Chelsea have not put an offer on the table. So again, this is so much news. PR is really going on one side or other. Some sides are supporting Mason, some sides are supporting the club, and it's an absolute mega PR right now. But being very honest, if this is true, I'll again say, if this is true, then Reece James for me is not comparable to Mason. I love Mason to bits. Everybody on this channel knows that I want to keep Mason Mount at Chelsea very badly. I love Mason Mount to bits. He's a very good player. He's a professional player who's done a very good job for us. You can say one of youth players since Frank Lampard has come along with Reece James to break into the team, and one of some of the most proper young players we have had from our academy in very long time. Chelsea have been known to a club that disrespect the academy, don't give the guys enough chances, and now Mason was one of them to get the chances. But I will tell you one thing. Mason Mount is a fantastic player, but Mason Mount is not Erling Haaland. Mason Mount is not Eden Hazard, a player you cannot replace. Reece James is a very rare player in his position, more like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joao Cancelo. These are very rare sort of breed of players that can attack, that can defend, and they have such good, beautiful feet that even a midfielder dream of. Reece James is a very rare player to find at right back, who is physical, who is so good attackingly, who can put a very good cross into the box, and is very good shooter of the ball. You won't find another Reece James in the market for less than 120 million, but you can find the next Mason Mount in the market for 30 or 40 million. So we cannot compare this. Reece James was a must keep. Mason was a player you can always replace. So for me, this is just not comparable. And Doreen Bro with the chat, Shrev, I don't think Mason is also at fault for demanding so much wages considering he's been bang average ever since the goal at Bernabeu. Doreen Bro, one hand, I do understand that point and I do agree. But Doreen Bro, we have to see from Mason's side. We, for 1 second, need to see from Mason's side. Kepa Arrizabalaga is on 200k. Kai Havertz is on 200k. Or you've got players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek on 150k. Hakim Ziyech earning so much wages. Mason has been one of Chelsea's best player, along with, you can say, Reece James, somebody you can say N'Golo Kante for 2-3 year period. He has been, along with Thiago Silva, one of Chelsea's best performer for the last 3 years, and he has to get wages equal to Kepa Arrizabalaga or wages equal to, you can say, like of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. It's gonna be hurting for him to take that. For him, he's the club's 2 times player of the year. He has been the players player of the year. He has been Chelsea's star boy. How much money Chelsea have earned from Mason Mount t-shirts, from Mason Mount all around the world, being the poster boy is unastronomical. So Mason is right in his way because he wants to sort his family's future. He wants to sort his life. So I don't blame him for that. But the club are also right that it does not deserve 250k. I think both the sides are right, and the best solution is for Mason to leave. And I think if Mason really wants to leave, the best club for me for him should be Liverpool and not Manchester United. That's just my personal opinion here. And Shrebo, love you for saying it, been screaming from my lungs out, saying even after Hazard left, we won the UCL repeatedly. So we can cope up. Absolutely great, brother. If we can cope without Eden Hazard, Mason is not in that category. I love Mason, but Mason is not in that category. For which keeper Chelsea will go, I'll discuss on that later in the video, brother. We have David Raya, Onana, Martinez. There are many more keepers as we might go to, but these are the 3 primary keepers we're going with, brother. And Shreva, I agree with Kepa and Kai, which is a pathetic, but that was given by old regime. Mason should see what Ugarte has been offered. Fully agreed, brother. And this is why, for me, Dylan, brother, the board are right, but Mason is right in his regard. And this is why the best part is to just part ways. Mason can go to club where he thinks he is valued, and Chelsea can go for the new wage structure they want to go to. So I think Chelsea are changing as a club under Todd Boehly, the new recruitment team, and Mason also wants to get his best wages possible. So I have no problem with anyone. Mason can go to a club he feels valued, and Chelsea can move on. We can bring players like Ugarte, players like Caicedo, players like Kone, any players we want, and we can also move forward as well. So it's not going to be a lot of trouble for us as well. Mason is a player I love, but he's a very replaceable player, we like it or not. And when will Poch start working with the squad? Brother, he will start working with the squad from July 1st. Because of contractual issues with PSG, he cannot start working from July 1. Otherwise, Chelsea will need to pay compensation. So he is going to start from most likely after July 1st. That's going to be more likely the time Pochettino comes for pre-season and he starts working with the Chelsea squad. Now coming on to the next news, but my concern is letting go of 3 experienced Premier League midfielders. I fully agree with that, Drain Bro, but we need to move on, brother. N'Golo Kante is only fit for 7 games a season, Darren Bro, and is it really worth to keep him for 300k when he only can play 7 games a season? Mateo Kovacic, brother, since the World Cup has not even cared to play for the shirt. He has looked like a player that doesn't give a damn what's happening at Chelsea. His mind is at Manchester City, and then you go towards Mason Mount, who wants to leave, who wants better wages. So I think, yes, it could be difficult, but it's time for Chelsea to start a new era, a new side. And if we can get players like Ugarte, Caicedo, Enzo, that's much better midfield than already we've got. Ugarte, Enzo, Caicedo could be a midfield that can elevate us to next level in the future. And yes, I'm worried. Without experience, the side could really have a bit of trouble. But these are young players who in future can become some of the top midfielders in the world. 7 games a season, if we are lucky, fully agreed. And that is the problem with N'Golo Kante. I love N'Golo, but N'Golo just cannot stay fit. And if a player is not fit, how he can even be match fit and even play well? We have to understand that he's on 280k. I love N'Golo Kante to absolute bits, but there's no point renewing that contract. I'm being very, very honest. There's not even a point in renewing that contract with N'Golo Kante. Now coming on to the next news, it's also on Mason Mount. Mason Mount keen on joining Manchester United, has talks are ongoing behind the scenes. No issues on personal terms, but deal not advanced yet. Has this big gap between the club. Chelsea keep asking for at least 80 million fee for Mount. Deal not imminent at this stage. And with Enzo Fernandez, we should bring to make a with Enzo, which player? I think we should be bringing either a Caicedo or for me either a Declan Rice. I think these two, one of them can work fantastically with Enzo Fernandez. But the point is, are the club ready to shell 80-90 million for a Caicedo and 100 million for Declan Rice? That is a big question. I think Declan Rice or a Caicedo make a lot of sense, and I think these are the two proper players that can play with Enzo Fernandez and really help him elevate his game. And भाई माउंट ने इतना कुछ ही खास भी नहीं कि नहीं उसका रोल ही डिसाइडेड नहीं है. It will be harsh, but Southgate used Mount better than Potter Lampard. I think with Lampard, Gaurav, I might not agree because his best performances in a Chelsea shirt have been under Thomas Tuchel and Frank Lampard. So I will disagree with that. But overall, in my humble opinion, I really think that Mason Mount, to be honest, has not been used well in Chelsea. This is a very correct opinion because he has been used as a left winger, right winger. The great Graham Potter, the Harry Potter used him as a striker. I love Graham Potter as a human being, but that is one of the worst decisions I've seen from a management, playing Mason Mount as a striker. What was he thinking? I really don't know. And yes, I do agree Mason has not been used well, but I also think that Mason could, in his way, do better as well because technically, sometimes he can be really good, but sometimes Mason Mount is the most frustrating player to watch. I don't think we get away from that. And in my opinion, 60 million plus 10 million add-ons, milega ya 20 add-ons. Caicedo will come if you go bravely. Rice won't. He needs usage. I do agree, but Rice does love Chelsea. And I think because he's been a former player, he might come. But yes, we have to pay 100 million. We need to be honest. West Ham will only sell to a club that pays 100 million. And if we are one of them, then we will get Declan Rice. And in Twitter, Ugarte and Caicedo both will come. That's new going. I think yes. I'm going to discuss on the brother on the later in the video because I've covered that as well. Ugarte and Caicedo have a massive chance for both of them to come to the club. Shreva, in my opinion, we will ask for 80 million. United won't budge. Mason says another season, wins in September and signs an extension. That's a great dream, brother, but I don't think this is happening. The club will sell him. He's solid as a number 8. Fully agreed. And Gaurav Bhai, because you're a Manchester United fan, I just want to discuss on Mason to Manchester United. See, for me, first of all, here has Fabrizio has given the report. Chelsea want at least 80 million. We all know that's not going to happen. Mason Mount has only 1 year left on his contract. That is not happening. We will sell Mount for at least 55-60 million. I don't think we'll get anything above that. Now on Manchester United, Gaurav, my only worry is that you already have a proper number 10 or a number 8 in Bruno Fernandes, who is high pressing, who is technically half player. He's good and bad. And Mason Mount is in the category of, you can say, more like Bruno Fernandes. Now, for me in the future, Eriksen won't be playing. Now, is Manchester United next season going to go with Casemiro, Mason Mount, and Bruno Fernandes? That is going to be a disastrous midfield, Gaurav Bhai. That's going to be a disastrous midfield. I think if Mason Mount is coming to Manchester United, has a backup to Bruno Fernandes with the Champions League, with the Premier League, I think it's a fantastic deal. But if Mason Mount is coming as a starter with Bruno Fernandes, I really don't know what's going on because Mason Mount is a player that's best placed in a Bruno Fernandes position, and you cannot have both Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes for me in the same starting 11. That is just my opinion, and this is why I think Mason Mount should be going to Liverpool. Liverpool are a team very suits perfectly. Jurgen Klopp wants him to replace Jordan Henderson, and he can be the perfect player for that. But right now, Liverpool have moved towards McAllister, Kone, so it doesn't look like they'll go for Mason Mount. And Manchester United look like the likely possibility for Mason Mount to join. And Agent Mount will do his job. Rice and Mount to United. And I think, yeah, Rice is a massive possibility. If United get the Qatari ownership, Rice is a massive possibility. And for those who are saying Mason Mount bleeds blue, should also know that he's a Portsmouth fan, a proper Portsmouth fan. So yeah, let's move on. I think Drainbrook, being very honest, is no proper choice. For players, they have to look towards their family. They have to look towards their earning. So I don't think we can even blame the players. And as for the club as well, the club also doesn't give a damn if someone is proper Chelsea. The club wants the best money possible. The owners want to get their checks, their investment proper. So I think there's no loyalty in football. We need to understand it. There is never going to be a loyalty in football. And this is why this proper Chelsea term is not going to be there. You will really find players like Francesco Totti in today's day. And that's going to be a rarity you will find in modern day. And personally, I don't want him, but Ten Hag wants, so no issue. Yeah, I do understand that. If Ten Hag wants him, you need to back the manager. And 4-3-3 में by case with Bruno Mount as number 8, and I'm थोड़ा possession type खेलेगा. At least McTominay से अच्छा खेलेगा. But again, I think for me, he cannot be a starter for Manchester United. He can be a good backup for Manchester United. But for me, Gaurav Bhai, I don't think he can be a starter for a team like Manchester United. Because Mason technically is not at the level that you expect for a midfielder at number 6 or number 8 to be. So this is my only problem with Mason to Manchester United. But again, if Ten Hag wants him, then the fans must back him for the season he's had and for the top quality manager Ten Hag is. And Shweb, I can disagree. I can't see him playing at camp. Whenever he plays there, he kind of struggles even in England. Can't see him doing the box to box role. Yeah, I fully agreed, brother. And this is why I think it might be a 4-3-3. But if Bruno and Mount are playing in one team, one midfield, I think that's two profiles, same profile playing. And that's going to be a massive problem for Manchester United. You won't have a player that will be press resistant. You won't have a player that will bring the ball from the back. And all it will depend on Casemiro, who slowly will age and the trouble will begin. United either need to bring both Rice or Mason Mount, or they need to go for just a midfielder, because Mason overall doesn't make sense if they're not signing a Declan Rice. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for me in Manchester United terms. But again, if Ten Hag wants him, the club must back him, and then the consequences, whether it works well or doesn't, lies upon Eric Ten Hag. Now coming on to another news today, and this news is regarding Livy Colwill, and it's regarding Chelsea have rejected a 30 million bid for Livy Colwill from Brighton and Hove Albion. We know Brighton are one of the most clever club in the world the way they are ran. They rinsed 62 million for Cucurella. They got 50 million from Arsenal for Ben White. They are demanding 90 million for Caicedo, and they are literally going to get 60 million for McAllister from Liverpool. So Brighton are a very, very smart club, and Livy Colwill looks like he's really settled at Brighton. He's having good friendship with the journalists, with the club, and he really wants to say. So they're trying to test the waters. But to be really honest, a lot of clubs keep trying on. Top clubs are embarrassing. They take our players, they lowball us. I want to say one thing. This is an embarrassing offer by Brighton, and Chelsea should easily rebuff it. Anything less than 60 million for Colwill is going to be embarrassing. If you're demanding 90 to 100 million for Caicedo, we want 50 to 60 for Colwill, and I don't even want that. I want Colwill to be a massive part of Chelsea Football Club and us to not be selling him. Colwill must be kept at the club. He's such a good young talent, and we must not make any more mistakes. Pochettino must be having talks with Colwill, and Livy Colwill for me has to be kept at Chelsea Football Club. He's a very, very good talent, a very, very good young defender, and I think Chelsea should be doing everything we can to keep Livy Colwill at the club. Taking a bit of chats here, and yeah, he's going to be better than Fred. I think that's not even a question here. And Shrebo, Mason deals falls down. Do you see Kova to United? I think it's a possibility, but if Manchester City are after Kovacic, he's not going to go to United for City. One team where he can win the Premier League, Champions League, on another team that's still in the building process. So I think if he gets the opportunity, he will go to Manchester City. But if the deal collapses, then yes, he might go to Manchester United. And I think he might suit United more than Mason Mount. Kovacic can suit United more than Mason Mount, to be honest. And now going on to another one. That's why I want Rice. Case can't hold too much, and absolutely agreed. And Rice could be a massive option for Manchester United. And Brighton bid 30 million for the left leg of Colwill. That's a very, very good comment, bro. And they robbed us of 60 million for Cucumber. How they say that statement. Fully agreed. And I think we should be rinsing them as well. We should be rinsing them as well. They rinsed the system with Potter, the money they charged. We should be rinsing Brighton apart for me. We should be rinsing them. We must not let Colwill go. And if you dream of getting Colwill, put your 60, 70 million on the table, and then we'll talk. That's the way for me. Chelsea need to move on in this particular talks and this particular player. Coming on to the next transfer news now, and that is regarding Mauricio Pochettino, and he loves Livy Colwill. Now, we all know Mauricio Pochettino won't start working for Chelsea before July the 1st. So he is going to be working behind the scenes, but he won't officially start working for Chelsea till July 1. Now, Mauricio Pochettino, as per CFC Daily and Tom Roddy, the source, has admitted Livy Colwill from afar. It is understood that Chelsea are planning on holding talks with Colwill, overextending the contract. This is by Tom Roddy. Now, we all know Mauricio Pochettino is a big fan of Livy Colwill. He's a massive fan of Mason Mount. He's a massive fan of Ugarte. And I think if Pochettino, with the way he developed youngsters, the way he's perceived among the youngsters, I think Livy Colwill might decide to stay. Because Mauricio Pochettino is known as a very, very good developer of young players. And I think Livy Colwill in the system of Mauricio Pochettino can do wonders. And with sadly Bardeshelly injured for 2 to 3 months, I think Livy Colwill is only going to be a left centre-back option available. And Livy Colwill with Thiago Silva or a Wesley Fofana can be Chelsea's future with Wesley Fofana. And Livy Colwill with Thiago Silva can be a starting 11. And Kai must be sold, fully agreed. He must be sold for me if you get the right offer. And it looks like that the news around Real Madrid is really growing. And I'll get into that later in the video. So big up for everyone to join the chat. Please do hit the like button and please subscribe if you haven't. And fully agreed. I think Colwill will be a very, very good player under Pochettino. I think he's a very good player to play from the back. His long passes are fantastic. He's a very, very good young defender. And Todd Boehly did a wonderful thing to not listen to Tuchel and sell Colwell. Now we need to bring him back. Pochettino needs to be developing him. And I think in the future, with Livy Colwell, with Wesley Fofana, I think we have, and Baria Shelley, we have a very bright future when it comes to young centre backs and along with the Trevor Chalobah as well. And I think this is one of the department where Chelsea are run well and we can do good job in this department in the future. So that is a thing for me. We have to look in the future and keep on developing. Now coming on to the next news now. And the next news is regarding Moses Caicedo and 13 and 8. I think one thing I do want to tell you people, if Chelsea get 30 million for Kai Havertz, it's a profit on our books. If we get 30 million for Kai Havertz, we will make profits on the book because the resale value and everything combined. So 30 million might not be the worst thing to happen to us in the book value, but I think we are literally easily going to get 50 to 60 for Kai Havertz. And Shrivai, don't you think it's a kind of madness to let go of Felix, Kai, Mason in a single window? I really don't think that they're in row because to be really honest, Kai for me is a player who has really not really performed for Chelsea and his mentality has not been top notch. I will love to give Kai one more season, but Darren Rowe, let's be honest, if Real give us 70 million, I think we must be taking that. And then you go to Mason Mount. Mason Mount is a fantastic player, a good professional I love to keep. But again, if the guy wants to leave, we should not beg him to stay. Then you go towards João Felix, when we've already bought Nkunku, a guy who can play behind the strikers. It really doesn't make sense for me to keep João Felix, a luxury player and a player who loves to play behind the striker. And what are our thoughts and takes on Mourinho's situation at Roma? Because Anthony Taylor is a joke with his refereeing. I want to make some things clear on this. See, being very, very honest, first of all, Anthony Taylor is one of the worst referee I've ever seen in my life. The FA Cup final, I'll never forget. The refereeing in that game is horrendous. But that really doesn't mean that his family need to be hounded. For me, Mourinho is right in his own way because he's a coach. He wanted to leave Roma with a Champions League qualification and he's hurt in the side. See, we need to think from Mourinho's point of view. Mourinho has worked hard whole season to give the Roma people Champions League football and that's been taken away from him. The guy is naturally going to be hurt. He's naturally going to be hurt and he vented his anger at Anthony Taylor. It's not Mourinho who told the idiotic fans to go and do that with Anthony Taylor at airport with his family. That is horrendous. See, we can say that the referee did not do a good job and he must be questioned, he must be evaluated on his performance. But that doesn't mean that his family needs to be hounded and he needs to be hounded at the airport. That is very, very sad and strict action must be taken against those individuals who did that with Anthony Taylor at the airport. That was a disgrace and I have whole sympathy for me with Anthony Taylor and his family. But as a referee, he needs to do better because that was a very bad decision. That is a penalty any day of the week. I don't know the rules, but that has to be a penalty for me and Roma must be winning the Europa League and they will get 70-80 million for the Champions League and that's been taken away from them. But what happened with Anthony Taylor at the airport is one of the biggest disgrace we'll see and the fans that were involved in that must be ashamed of themselves for what happened and the authorities must provide more protection towards the referees with what happens because fans are angry and sometimes fans lose their mind. Now coming on to more news and Real itna hi degi max. No, I don't think so, bro. I think Real can pay 50-60 million and at least we need to try to get them to pay that. And kaha khelega bhai Havertz and Nkunku, fully agree with that one. I fully agree with that one as well. And then bro, imagine 4-3-3 with Caicedo. I think I'm dreaming with that, brother. The rain, bro, this is the best midfield we can have. Caicedo, Ugarte, Enzo, and then is going to be Sterling, Mediuque, and I'm just dreaming of a top striker, but again, it's just a dream. That midfield will be cooking with a quality striker, fully agreed. Just think Caicedo making the interceptions and tackles, Enzo Fernandez making great long passes into the final box. Let's say there is a Vlahovic, Enzo Fernandez drinks a long ball, Vlahovic controls, puts in the net. It's Chelsea 2, Manchester 0. Manchester City come on the counter. Caicedo wins the ball back. And it's to Ugarte. Ugarte passes to Enzo. Enzo passes to Sterling. Sterling puts a cross into the box. Vlahovic with the tap in. Chelsea 3, Manchester 0. Chelsea are winning the Premier League. It's a dream. And I don't know if it's going to be possible. And kids, I think Chelsea kids are fantastic, Gaurav. This time, if we can get the sponsors a bit more lower, I think the kits are looking very good, Gaurav. The kits are very clean and very beautiful. Manchester United kits are also very well as well. On this channel, next month or this month at the end, when all kids are out, there's going to be a home kit ranking, away kit ranking, third kit ranking. So do subscribe to the channel, do hit the bell notification button, and please like the channel and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It will mean a lot, and please do like the video. And श्रेय भाई बस एक एसटी चाहिए, उसके बाद we should not even look at the transfer window. I agree with the drain, bro, but every striker we have signed has failed. Lukaku for 100, Morata for 70, Werner for 50. Some was successful. It's been a total disaster the way we sign players. For me, we need to move away from the way we sign strikers. We need to go for more scouted. We should have been all over the deal for Julian Alvarez. We let it go under our noses. I think we need to scout more players. David Fofana is a good signing, but he has to go on a loan before he's ready to play for Chelsea. Armando Broja could have been a massive player for us this season, but with that injury, Armando Broja is going to take a lot of time before he's back on the field. So that is a massive, massive worry. We need to sign a striker, but with Romelu Lukaku, I will back Pochettino, but I'm going to be very honest. Lukaku doesn't give a damn about Chelsea. He doesn't want to come back. Do we want to beg to the player to play for Chelsea? Do we need to beg a player to play for Chelsea? That's a question. So I think we need to go in the market. We need to sign proper strikers and with proper research and scouting, because this is what Chelsea have been missing. You see Arsenal, they are such a well-run club because they sign players that suit the profile of the manager. Odegaard, Heiser, Zinchenko. That is the way you run a football club, not running just a random football manager signing anyone in the world. And that's what Chelsea have been doing for some time. And taking a bit of chance here, we can only imagine winning Pep City. That's true. And that was just a good dream I had. United की सिर्फ home से ही है, बाकी सब बेकार है. But our home form is massive, brother. Absolute massive. अंकित भाई के साथ और लोगों के साथ review करना. I will do that. I will do a lot of streaming with Ankit bhai as well in the future. And so how many players do you need? Bhaga, bro, that's a very good question. I think Chelsea overall, to be in the position that United, Arsenal and City are, we need minimum a top goalkeeper. We need minimum a striker that can score 15 goals a season. And I think for me, brother, we need 2 midfielders. I think minimum we need 4 signings to even be competitive for top 4 next season. Otherwise, I think it's another very long season, brother. And coming to Shrevai, we all know Broja is perfect left wing. Just kidding. But overall, he was a fantastic striker, bro. But that injury came at a very long time. And Osimhen ke liye jayega, I think is not possible. 150 million, I think that's ludicrous. Napoli are the worst team in the world to deal with. Laurentiis is one of the worst person to deal with. That guy rinsed us for 2 months for 60 million for Jorginho and 8 million for Sarri. Nah, man. I don't want to deal with that club, man. Really honest. And Lukaku plus Onana maybe player plus cash. Yeah, that's a big possibility. And even Martinez might be involved. And happy about Maguire coming. Bro, if that happens, I'm going to just hit my head on this beautiful wall and I might be just gone on the stream. Because if that guy comes to the club, and again, I respect Harry Maguire as a human being. I want the best for him. But when we already have Thiago Silva, Colville, Badiashile, Fofana, Chalobah, and if we bring Harry Maguire to the club, Chelsea's board have lost their mind. They would have absolutely lost their mind. And 4 makes sense. Agree with it, brother. And we need minimum to minimum 4 players considering Napoli didn't let us have more terms when his contract was expiring 6 months. Later leave Osimhen. Yeah, they're that type of club. They are a very difficult club to deal with, Rainbow. And I think this is why I don't want to deal with them. Buy more strikers. It's not like Osimhen is a rare striker on the market. If you scout players properly, you can find the next Julian Alvarez. You can find the many more strikers coming up. And that's what for me Chelsea should be doing for the future. We need to scout players and sign players as per the profile of the manager, in my humble opinion. Coming to the next news now, and Chelsea are working on both Ugarte and Caicedo. This is by the all-reliable reporter Fabrizio Romano, and he has said, yeah, brother, Nkunku has been like Chelsea have not confirmed it, but overall everybody has said that the deal is done. He had his final game at Leipzig and he's coming to Chelsea. And just see, Chelsea are working on both Ugarte and Caicedo. And this is the thing I've been telling people for a long time. Kovacic is going for 30 million. Mount is going for 50, 60 million. We are also going to have N'Golo Kante might possibly leave the club and free us 270k on the wages. Don't be surprised. Chelsea signed Ugarte and Caicedo. We pay 80, 90 million for Caicedo and we pay 30, 40 million of around 50 for Ugarte, and we signed the both midfielders on a combined package of 160 million. This is a very big possibility. And guys, Ugarte, Enzo, Caicedo, Andre Santos, Chukwuemeka. Oh my god, man, that's such a good midfield. Just think Ugarte, Caicedo, Enzo, Andre Santos, Caicedo, Chukwuemeka. Chelsea have such a young midfield that in the future they can do really, really, really well at Chelsea Football Club, and the future could be bright. Bhaga Group fully agreed. This is why I think is going to be one club that breaks the bank. I think Brighton want minimum 90 to 100 million, and if Chelsea break the bank, then we might go ahead of Arsenal until Caicedo rejects us. But I think Bhaga Bro, for me, the biggest person Arsenal are after is Declan Rice. So I think if Arsenal are able to get Declan Rice for 90, 100 million, then Caicedo might not be the one they go with Partey, Jorginho, and then you have Caicedo, and then Smith Rowe is also there. So Arsenal might not just go for another midfielder then, but for Arsenal's future, if they want to win against Manchester City, I think they should be going for both the players, to be really honest. And Manu Kone is a good young player. He's a very, very good young player. So I fully agree with that, bro. And Silva, that's a good chat, bro. That's a good chat. But I think Carlos Puyol was a different level. That was one of the best defenders I've seen. Top midfielder, defender. Really sorry for that. I will love to have Duvan Zapata. I do remember that. He's a very good player at Atalanta. But again, Darren, bro, it could be a good signing. But is it not a risk to bring him in the Premier League and demand him to score 15, 16 goals a season? That's going to be a bit of tricky. He's a good young player. But again, Darren, bro, he's working in a system under Atalanta, a proper run club with a proper system. At Chelsea, everything is so rushed. Everything is done in such a hazard manner that sometimes it really affects the player. And a player that's not even experienced in the Premier League might be a massive, massive risk in my opinion, Darren, bro. And Dada, if Dean Henderson is available for cheap, will you buy him for go all out? No. I think David Raya, if he's available, I think he's a much better player than Dean Henderson. I'll rather go for Emilio Martinez from Aston Villa. I'd rather even try to get Lukaku out and Onana in. I really don't want Dean Henderson. I think some of his attitude for me has not really been good, and his performances for me has still not been at a good level in Nottingham Forest. And should we save money and go for Calvin Phillips? See, this is a good shout, Bhaga, bro. This is a good shout. Calvin Phillips, for me, age-wise, is not a player I really want to sign. And he has failed at Manchester City, and he's a very, very injury-prone player. But if you talked about this 2 years back, then yes, I would have had Calvin Phillips in my team. 2 years back, I will 100% have taken Calvin Phillips. But now, injured player, unfit, the age is not on good side. I'll not have Calvin Phillips in my team. I'll rather go for a young player in Manu Kone, Lavia, to build us for the future. And I think Kulamen as a striker is a really good one. Fully agreed, but brother, he's a very, very young player. So again, if we bring a Koulibaly, we cannot put the pressure on the young guy to give us 15, 20 goals a season. If Chelsea dream of finishing in the top 4 next season, we need to sign some very experienced pros and not just youngsters, because these youngsters will be under some massive pressure. And Marco Thuram is a very, very good free agent and Versailles fully agreed. But as much as I heard in rumors, there are some people saying that he rejected us. So I think that's another one as well. And Thuram again, I'll rather keep Armando Broja, bring a striker for the future that really sorts us for the next years coming. I don't want to go for the short-term solution and then the player's attitude not really being at the right comment. And I'll see your comment, Gaurav. I'll just see your comment. And by मेरा मन माइक मैग्नेन पे आ गया है यूनाइटेड लेकर. But brother, being very, very honest, Gaurav bhai, being very, very honest, we need to be very honest, Gaurav brother, that will you be able to take Mike Maignan for 90 million? United don't have an unlimited budget. You are after Declan Rice, who's going to cost 100 million, Mason Mount 55 million. You're also after Caicedo. You're also after keepers, David Raya. Brother, Mike Maignan is going to cost 100 million pounds. I don't think United will go with that. David De Gea is already earning 300k per week at the club. I don't think you'll go for Mike Maignan. I think United most probably might end up with David Raya, a future player after David De Gea, a player David De Gea knows because they're both Spanish, and that could be a good transition for Manchester United. And Ten Hag, youngsters ke beach bahut popular hai. Yeah, he's a very good young manager. If Pochettino was not, if Ten Hag was available, I will have him, man. He's one of the best young managers for me. And when he joined Manchester United, if people can see this channel, I already knew the guy was going to do a great job. He's a very good young manager and a manager I really respect and really admire as well. And my dream is Dusan Vlahovic, without any doubt, fully agreed. I watched him from the Fiorentina days, And I think Vlahovic can do a very good job for Chelsea in the future. He's a striker who can hold the ball well. He has a good pace. He has good finish in him, and he's a very good technical striker. But again, Bayern Munich are interested in him. Thomas Tuchel is interested in him. Will he choose a side finishing 12th in the Premier League towards Bayern Munich? I really don't think so. How could you give up Mason Mount so easily? Now, Baga brother, see, being very, very honest here, the problem, Baga brother, is first of all, the FFP1 is really concerning for Chelsea. We need to be very honest, Baga brother, as a Chelsea fan. See, we need to balance our books, and our most sellable assets are Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher, very sadly Trevor Choroba, and homegrown players are the most sellable assets at Chelsea. So if you dream of signing Caicedo, if you dream of signing Ugarte, we need to let a big player go, and Mason Mount is one of them. Another problem, Bhaga brother, is the reports are coming that he does not feel valued at the club. He thinks he wants wages equal to Reece James and that all things. And brother, being very, very honest, Chelsea's wage structure is very broken. Havertz is on 200k, Kepa is on 200k, and if you put Mason Mount on 250k, I love Mason Mount. Everybody on this channel knows. But 250k for me, Bhaga brother, is really undeserved. I think Saka deserves his wages at Arsenal because Saka is on just another level. He's a generational talent. Mason is a very good player, a player I love with his heart. But Mason is not a generational talent. He's a very good professional, a very good player. But Mason is just not at that level that we consider Saka's, that we consider Vinicius Juniors to be. And paying him 300k will be a massive problem on our wage budget, brother. And along with that, there are many players you can find of his profile that can suit the club well. So for me, brother, I will always love Mason Mount. For 3 years, the guy has really carried the club. But I think if he really wants big wages and the club doesn't want to pay it, and we have to also solve a wages crisis, player crisis, balancing the book. This is why for me, if the club wants to let him, I'll allow it to go. I don't think it's at the level of Eden Hazard or the level of players like Vinicius Junior, Saka's, Martinelli's, where if they close, the club is in massive trouble. And I will always have Mason Mount. Best of luck to him at any club he goes. I'll always love him. I don't agree with this, oh, he chooses rival, he chooses money over that. No. Everybody has to see his family, his wages, his overall happiness. So I agree with that. But for me, brother, it's high time for us to let him go and high time for us to build as well. And I'll bring more news, but let's take some comments. Barella is class along with Tonali. But I think, brother, they're going to cost 100 million. Barella is literally going to cost 100 million. And I think Inter Milan will not let so many players go. And the way they rinsed us for Romelu Lukaku, we aren't getting Barella. And we need to prioritize a DM and we need to prioritize a ball-winning midfielder. And this is why we are going with Ugarte and a Caicedo. And I'll see, brother. I'll just see the comment. I'll just take it afterwards. And Qatari ka paisa kam aayega. Yeah, if Qatari owners come to the club, I think they can spend 200 million. But again, brother, Gaurav, bro, United need to sell a lot of players. And I don't think there are many high-value players in your team. And how much do you think realistic we can get SP out of England? I think Darren, bro, most probably he might even leave for free. If he goes, Chelsea might respectfully allow him to go on free. Because, brother, the age he's on, nobody is going to pay a transfer fee. And Chelsea might just respectfully allow him to go free agent because what they've done for the club. And don't even be surprised he stays and does what John Terry did for us in 16-17 season. And do you think Mount is Mata 2.0? I think no. Darren, bro, Juan Mata was one of the best technical footballers I've seen play for this club. He was even better than Eden Hazard that 2 years. He was one of the best players. And see, I love Jose Mourinho, but I will never forgive Jose Mourinho for letting Juan Mata go. He was my favorite player at Chelsea, one of the top players I've watched at this team. Technically, the guy was so good. He literally, in the Europa League campaign, had 20 goals and 30 assists in all competitions. My guy was such a good footballer, but we sent him to Manchester United, David Moyes, and he was destroyed. I think Mason Mount is overall going under Ten Hag, a very good young manager, and I think Mason Mount will not regress in his career like Mata did. But Mata at Chelsea is not compared to Mason. Mason did a very, very good job for Chelsea, won us the Champions League. But people forget, Mata was the one who delivered the corner for Didier Drogba. Mata was the one who scored in the first leg against Napoli. Mata was a massive player for Chelsea, and Mata was a massive player for Chelsea in a Europa League run. Do not ever disrespect Mata, and fully agreed with Dwayne, bro. Mata at Chelsea was so silky. If we let go of Colwill, the only man who make me happy of the transfer is Bastoni. But again, Drain, bro, when we have to sign a goalkeeper, when we have to sign a striker, just keep one of the young talents we've got in our team rather than paying 80, 90 million for the other one. And I do agree with your comment. If he goes, then yes, that has to be the signing. But I think Chelsea should not allow these young talents to go. Mata was the one who kept KDB on the bench. Yeah, Mata was the one who kept KDB on the bench. But no, KDB was overall also for me not in Mourinho's plan. And I think when Mourinho doesn't like a player, he destroyed Mata, he destroyed De Bruyne, and that's what Jose is. I love Jose, but if Jose doesn't like a player, whatever happens, he'll never ever play him in his life. And now, going on some news as well, people. Now, let's come to some news now. And coming on to the next news for Chelsea now, there is concern that Levy Colwill will not be assured of a regular game time at Chelsea with January signing Benoit Bardeshele, also a left-footed centre-back. This is by the reliable athletic Simon Johnson and Lime Tomey. Now, people, being very honest, this is some of the biggest bullshit I've listened to. And being very honest, if Colwill is thinking that, then that's very concerning on him, because you need to have confidence you can break in this side. Badia Shele sadly is injured for 2 to 3 months. So Badia Shele might not even start the season. So Levy Colwill could be debuting for Chelsea in the first game of the season. Then you already have a starting point over Badia Shele, and if you play well, Badia Shele won't be able to come back to the team. And this narrative that two left-footed centre-backs cannot play in the team is not good. If these are two top quality centre-backs, they can. Levy Colwill and Badia Shele are two top centre-backs and they can play with each other. And the last and the fourth thing I'm going to say, if you are playing for a top football club like Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, you need to understand that you have to fight for a position. If you cannot fight for a position, that says a lot about your character. It says a lot about the character you are. Being very, very honest. My question is, Levy Colwill didn't get that much of a game time in Brighton. In a back three formation, he didn't complain then. Fully agreed. Fully agreed. I think for me, Drinbrook, to be honest, I think Levy Colwill will stay at Chelsea. I think what Levy Colwill needs is Pochettino to have a word with him and assure him of his future at Chelsea. If Pochettino can do that, I think Levy Colwill will 100% stay at Chelsea and happily stay at Chelsea. Coming to the next news, Inter Milan are pushing to sign Trevor Chalobah for 25 million. This is by Dom Smith and Standard Sport. That's why I love Trevor. He wants to fight. Fully agreed. And I think overall, if we allow him to go to Inter Milan, that is a ridiculously bad decision by the board, by the management, and they should not be doing that. Trevor Chalobah is a player who is not respected among Chelsea fan base. We keep talking about Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher, Levy Colwill, but we never talk about this guy. He broke under Thomas Tuchel. He played so well. Whenever Trevor Chalobah has played, he has really put a foot wrong. He most probably gives you 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 displays every week. He's a good young centre back. He's defensively very reliable. He has been played this season so many times out of position, left centre back, right back, and still gave his everything for the shirt. The guy doesn't throw a fuss. He fights for the shirt. He fights for the badge. He loves Chelsea Football Club, and he's very good in his position. Thiago Silva is so old. We have so many good young centre backs, Fofana, Chalobah, Colwill, Badiashile, and then you let this one guy go again for just 25 million is going to be ridiculous. Finding a player that's going to give performances like Chalobah does could cost you 70, 80 million. Why do we need to do that? Why? And that's why I let Trevor fully agree with that one. And the injury at Bedford held my back, so fully agree with that one as well. But Trevor Chalobah is still a very, very top player who has had a, for me, in last some weeks at right back position, he has had some very, very good games as well. Coming on, this tweet by Lime Tommy, Trevor Chalobah wants to stay and fight for his place at Chelsea. Inter do like him, but his focus is on meeting Pochettino, competing in pre-season training, and finding out where he fits in the first team. And that is very good to hear. I think these news are going to go and keep going around because Chelsea need to meet the FFP, but Chelsea will be idiotic to sell Trevor Chalobah. He could be a good young centre-back, a good squad player who fights for his position and can be very useful to the club next season. He's such an experienced player now after playing for so much time for the last 2 years regularly. He's a good young centre-back who's defensively good. He can play from the back. Yes, he has got some deficiencies which Pochettino can improve upon him. And I think we will be very idiotic to let this guy go. And fully agree with Durain Bro here. 25 million for Trevor is a robbery. For the performances this guy brings, With today's current market, he needs to minimum demand 40-45 million, and even then I don't want him go. He's such a good young centre back. We should be using him, and we need to stop selling young talent who have performed well for the club in last some years, and also who want to stay here and fight for the badge, and are also in better position in their particular positions. Like Trevor Chalobah is fighting with Wesley Fofana, and Fofana has been in and out of the side. So why let Chalobah go and try to spend 60-70 million on his replacement? Why? Keep Trevor Chalobah, and he can do a good job for the club in the future. I guess the board doesn't know that we need more than 11 players in the squad. Yeah, fully agree with that one. I think board need to understand that we do need 4 centre backs to fight for 2 positions if we want to play back 4. And I think we need to keep Trevor Chalobah. Letting Trevor Chalobah go is going to be a massive disaster by Chelsea Football Club. I'm being very, very honest with this one. Coming on to the next one now. The next news. This is Posh to revolutionize Chelsea. As per the news here by Adrian Kajumba, unlike Graham Potter, who tried his best to keep everyone involved, Mauricio Pochettino is not expected to be quiet and accommodating one. He has decided who does and does not fit in the plan, and that is the best thing I've heard for such a long time. Because people, I respect Graham Potter as a human being, but he was too nice. Off days, off days, off days, off days. The guys are letting the shirt down, and you're giving them off days after off days after off days. Now, with Pochettino, the club is going to have fitness regime. The players are going to be ran to the ground. Their fitness level are going to be at a good level. And Pochettino is a disciplined manager who won't take any nonsense. This is what these players need. Sterling coming in the conference and saying that we need a proper character in as a guy. We need a leader. That was clear attack on Frank Lampard and Graham Potter. And Chelsea need a proper manager. And Pochettino can be one of them. I've been begging for Chelsea to go for Pochettino. He's a good manager. If you really want to go in this project of young players, future success, then Pochettino should be the one to lead that. And I think Mauricio Pochettino can do a very good job for Chelsea. And if Mount goes, no, never. The way he down tools at Leicester when they were in relegation battle, for me, brother, he's a very good footballer, but he's very injury prone. And the way he down tools for Leicester in the last some weeks when they were in injury trouble, I really don't want that character, to be honest. And I think with Nkunku being there as well, I think we need to go for a much better player than Maddison, who presses, who is agile, who is aggressive, and also is consistent in his performances. So I won't go for Maddison, in my humble opinion. And Shrevo, you're the only Chelsea in the community who wanted Poch, and now you have gotten him. Do you think he will be failure or a next big thing for us? For me, brother, Darren bro, I said this to Ankit Bhai as well. He is going to be a massive player for Chelsea, and people do subscribe to Almighty Blues FC and Almighty Sports Plus. Ankit Bhai is fellow Chelsea fan, and I told him as well that Chelsea Football Club will be blessed to have Pochettino. He will do a good job for us. We need to put our Tottenham rivalry aside. This guy is going to do a very good job for us. The way he built Pochettino from the scratch, if people Tottenham from the scratch, people do go and watch my video on debunking the myths regarding Pochettino, and you will see what Pochettino is capable of. My guy is such a proven manager, and he can do the very good job. He can develop young players. He can be authoritative. He's experienced in the Premier League, and I think he can do a very good job. The way he built Tottenham from the scratch to the Champions League final was a story to remember. And the way he continued his performances, I think he can do a very good job for Chelsea in comparison to Graham Potter. And Maddison is just easy, man. Perfect for a mid-table club team. Fully agreed. And we have to hit the ground running in preseason. Fully agreed. And Pochettino is going to make these players run to the ground. The fitness level are going to be enormous. And these players need to eat as much as they can in a controlled manner, because if they're fat, Pochettino will make them run absolutely even after the preseason ends. And these guys are going to keep crying for give me rest, give me rest. So these players need to keep their stomach a bit less, and it's important for them to stay importantly fit. And now, coming on to the next news, this is regarding David Raya, a good Edward Mendy replacement. And now, as you can see in the news above, exclusive, and this is London's first, Chelsea held a meeting with the agents of David Raya yesterday morning, likely to be formalized interest, discuss the potential project with his agent. Reps of David Raya want Brentford to lower the price of 40 million. Raya, the representative Raya, want them to lower the price. He is in Chelsea list. Now, people, being very, very honest, we all know that Brentford have signed a keeper now to replace David Raya. So that already weakens them. They've signed a player, and now they have to sell a player who they want to sell to balance, get the big money in the books. And David Raya is a player a lot of clubs are after. United, you've got Chelsea, you've got so many clubs circling for him. He's a very, very good young goalkeeper. And I think if we can get him in the price range of 25 to 30 million, I think he's going to make a lot of sense. He's a very, very good young player, a talented goalkeeper. And I think David Raya for Chelsea Football Club would make a massive, massive sense in the future. I'm being very honest with this as well. And I think he's a keeper I really want. He's good with his feet. He's Premier League experience. He's a young, hungry player. No attitude problem. And I'll take David Raya in a heartbeat over Kepa and Mendy, being very honest. I love Edward Mendy, but Edward Mendy with his feet is an absolute disaster. And we need a goalkeeper that can sweep, that can really pass well, and also be a good shot stopper. And Shreeb, off topic, your thoughts on Jesse Lingard contract termination, not joining West Ham? It was a bad decision. It was a bad decision. But Darren, bro, I will tell you what happened. He had so much ego that he thought that he should be given more respect, more wages, and West Ham need to respect him, not understanding how much limitation he has got. He disrespected West Ham. He had too much ego, and now he has been released from Nottingham Forest. And it's time for Jesse Lingard to go on the training ground, work hard, revive his career, because there was always a talent in this guy, but a bit of ego, a bit of superstardom really got him back, man. And the guy had a lot of talent, but he only has himself to blame for now not having a club to play for right now. Will you consider Salonina as a backup and pushing for the number one slot? I've been saying this for a long time. I think if Edwin Mendy goes and we're not able to sign a goalkeeper, then we need to move Salonina above the team and should keep him as a backup. People, we need to be honest, we need to respect our youngsters. And if we want to develop Salonina to be a top goalkeeper, we need to give the guy chances and allow him to develop. And that's the thing that Chelsea need to do. My opinion is to get Navas for one season and now only focus on a CDM striker. That's a very good opinion there, and that's fully I agree with that. But again, we also need to see what a future term is. See, we signed Kylian Navas. He's not going to come here for just 1 year. So we need to see that as well. Coming to the next news now, and that is best available keeper. Pochettino really likes Emilio Martinez and will be his preferred option, but Aston Villa do not want to sell. See, I've been telling on this chat for a long time, if you want to give me a goalkeeper, I just want Emilio Martinez. The guy is one of the best shot stopper in the world. Poch likes him. He can improve with his feet, and his attitude is a top notch that you require. He's a player that really fights for the badge. He's a player, a leader that you need in the dressing room. And sometimes when the side is lacking experience, when a side is lacking a bit of the leader, someone that can take the players on, someone that can guide the players in a tough storm, you really need the backing of your players. And I think Emilio Martinez is a player that fights for the badge, that fights for his teammates, and a true leader in the dressing room. And I think they've been missing some personalities that can take on each other and even punch each other if someone is not performing. And they need personalities that can really traumatize the opponents, be aggressive. And I think Martinez solves a lot of that. And Emilio Martinez, do you think he will come here considering his past? I think he will. If Chelsea do really offer him and the stature we have in the game to Renbro, he will. But again, Aston Villa will not take less money. They will take minimum 60 million. And again, that is a massive, massive money, brother. That's massive money. Fully agree with that one. Slonina is a very good young talent. And I think it's time for Chelsea to draft these players. For me, my preferred option is David Raya, Slonina, and selling Mendy and Kepa both. But with Kepa Arrizabalaga wages, I don't think Kepa is going. So either we draft Slonina and use our money on a CDM, on a striker, or we sign a David Raya. That's the only options we've got. Now coming on to the next one, Chelsea will hold talks about Onana at the same time as Lukaku. They are set to talk after the UCL final. So, being very, very honest players with this one, Onana is a good goalkeeper. He has got some attitude problems, but he's a good goalkeeper. And with Romelu Lukaku forcing his way out to Chelsea, I think this could be a bit of medium Chelsea Inter Milan can reach to balance the books for Chelsea. So see, first of all, let's be brutally honest, Inter will demand massive money for it because I don't know how much money Inter can even pay for Lukaku. And then Onana, how much they value him. But see, very honest, my preferred target is David Raya. I think David Raya is much more cheaper, a much better player. I think he's not aggressive. He's not a player that's going to cause problem in the dressing room. And David Raya is very good with his feet and a good young player. But Onana is also a good goalkeeper, better than Kepa, better than Mendy. So if we sign him, I have no problem. But I will love us to sign David Raya, being very, very honest. And Emilio Martinez, and I've seen this chat, and Coming on to the next one, N'Golo Kante contract extension at Chelsea is in standby, which I've been telling you people for some time on this chat today. Why? Because he's on 350k, and to be really honest, he's only available 300k, and he's only available for like 7-8 games a season. See, I love N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante will always go down for me in my life as a legend, as a player that served Chelsea so well. One of the most professional player, one of the best human being as a player I've watched. He's such a good guy, and I will always love and admire N'Golo Kante. But see, I need to be honest with my heart as well. He's such a good guy. He's such a good young player. But N'Golo Kante can only play 7 games a season. He's at the wrong side of age of 30. He always gets injured. He's on 272 80k. Does it even make a sense to pay that money for him and keep him? For me, we need to go with the future. Ugarte, Enzo, Caicedo, Chukwuemeka, Casadai, and Dos Santos, and we need to go and N'Golo Kante let go. I love N'Golo Kante, but it's time for Chelsea to let the old guard go and build a new guard for the future. It's high time now. Chelsea need to change the squad, and we need to go in our transition, a new transition, and a new Chelsea phase for the future. Kepa hasn't been that bad this season. Probably better than previous season. The Aston Villa save were ridiculous. I fully agree with that one, bro. I fully agree with that one. But I think for me, brother, if you want to go for proper top fours, if you want to go for Premier League titles or cup competition, then I don't think it's good enough. Because, brother, we need to remember he made the mistake for the Manchester City goal. He made the mistake for Carlos Vinicius goal. He has made some massive mistake this season as well, which has always caused us as well. So I think he's a good goalkeeper. He's performed better this season. But is the goalkeeper to win his leagues or top 4 regulars? I really don't think so with that, brother. And I will even take 50 million for him. I think, brother, to be really honest, with the way Lukaku's loan spell has gone, he scored some goals, but not too much. I think we will be lucky to even get 30 for him, being very honest. And how much money he cost us, 30 million is going to go down as a massive loss in the books of Chelsea. And now, coming on to the next news, that is regarding Christian Pulisic, a player I always loved in the at the lockdown period. He was in one of the best form. This guy was single-handedly responsible along with Olivier Giroud to get us a top 4 because we were awful for the last 6 months of the campaign. Pulisic played really well in the Champions League campaign. I really love Christian Pulisic talent, and I think he can do a really good job at another club. But I need to be really honest. He's at the start of his Chelsea career was injury prone. Then he had not a good understanding with Thomas Tuchel. Then the books were coming out with Thomas Tuchel and him not being favoured. And he was angry at Thomas Tuchel not playing him against Real Madrid. Then Pulisic this season has not really played well. And I think it's no benefit of wasting this young guy talent when he can go elsewhere and do a good job. And it's no time wasting our time as well for a player that's one good display, one bad display. So I love Christian Pulisic. Best of luck to him. But I think it's high time for us to move on, let his career move on. And I think the better thing for both the parties will be to part ways with each other. Love Pulisic, but I think it's time for us to part ways together. And thank you, Pulisic, and hopefully he goes to a non-rival and really bangs up there. And more trophies than laurels. And Pulisic, I think, deserves a chance under Poch because Poch wants him. I do understand that, but I think, brother, if Chelsea want to sell him and if you get the right offer, then I think we need to take it. I will love to keep him, but I think that depends a lot on Pochettino. If Poch wants to keep him, then I'm all for it. And lockdown 2021, Pulisic, oh my god, bro, that was beautiful. That was Eden Hazard's level. This guy was playing some of the best football I've seen, but the decline has been astronomical. Has been absolutely astronomical terrain, bro. Luca, bro. And coming on to the next news now, and that is regarding Poch preferred targets. Chelsea's new manager, Mauricio Pochettino, called Ugarte to convince him to sign Stamford Bridge. And we all know that Ugarte is a preferred target for Mauricio Pochettino. See, for me, it's always about backing the manager, and then the manager is responsible for the signing to work and to not work. For me, we need to back Pochettino, and if Pochettino wants Ugarte, why are we fighting over wages? I think the wages we have offered 2 million are ridiculous for a player of his quality. I'm not saying pay him 100k, but paying him around 40k is horrendous. Pay him 70, 80k, reach on an incentive-based contract, and back the manager and get a player the manager wants. You don't want to make another manager angry. You don't want to be behind the process. Back the player he wants. And I think we need to go all in for Ugarte and confirm his signing. And Pulisic hat against Burnley was just beautiful, bro. I will never forget that. And Stray, bro, our fan base is so good, already hating on Pod just because he said no to Felix. That's Chelsea fans didn't, bro. We keep on seeing on Twitter to back the manager. But once manager goes against our favorite player, we want him out. That is Chelsea fan base in a nutshell, bro. And Kai Havertz is a name that has been mentioned at Real Madrid to reinforce the number 9 position. We know Karim Benzema might be leaving or he will leave in the future. We know they are going in for Erling Haaland in 2 years' time or Kylian Mbappe, and Real Madrid want Kai Havertz to play behind either Mbappe or Haaland. So saying on this, say Kai Havertz will always be a cult hero for me for scoring that goal in the Champions League. Well done. And he's still a player. If he leaves Chelsea, I will say one thing. What if? What if? And this isn't Marvel's what if. This is what if. Because this guy was a talented player, a talented human being, a beautiful footballer on his day, a very, very big game player. So yes, if he goes to Real Madrid, I will always think, can it be the Kevin De Bruyne situation? Hopefully not. Can it be Mohamed Salah situation? Hopefully not. But on the other hand, we have been seeing this guy for the last 5 years. We have played him at right wing, left wing, striker, cam, midfielder, and he still failed. There comes a point where if the player is not even really playing well in any position, he's not succeeding. You get a 50-60 million pound offer. I think you need to take it. Thank him for the Champions League goal and let him go. If you get the right offer him, we should sell him. Otherwise, for me, keep him. That's the way for me I see Kai Havertz. And now Liverpool was a maza, and oh my god, that goal against City was beautiful. And the Liverpool team performance where we lost 5-3, that was some beautiful match. That was a beautiful football match, man. The way we came back, the way Pulisic played, 5-3, that was an amazing performance with this attacking side that day. Coming on to Nkunku, and this is the reason that we have not gone for João Felix. Chelsea and Mauricio Pochettino have decided to trust Christopher Nkunku over a João Felix and playing behind the new striker. So they prefer Nkunku playing behind the striker or Kai Havertz in comparison to Felix, and I fully agree with that. Because first of all, we have signed Nkunku, and the best position for Nkunku is playing behind the striker. And number second is João Felix is going to cost 80-90 million. And being very honest, I love João Felix as a footballer. He's so good to watch, but in no way he's worth 80-90 million right now when we want to sign strikers, CDM, CM, goalkeeper. So I think the board made a good choice. And for the fans that keep on begging for the manager to be back and then are now after the manager, this is not good, people. And see, people, these were all the news that I covered today in regards to Chelsea. What else do we have on the right except Madueke? I think being very, very honest, right now, brother, it's only Hakim Ziyech who will be leaving the club. Aubameyang will be leaving the club. Pulisic might leave the club. So to be really honest, if we sign a striker, then I think Sterling can play at the right. Mudryk can play at the left with the like of fighting with Nkunku. So right now, we don't have even anyone right now, to be honest. To be really honest, if Ziyech leaves, Pulisic leaves, right now we have no one. And with that, people, I end the video. Please, join. It means a lot. Thank you so much, Loco, Durain Bro, and Ride With Me, Gaurav Bro, and anyone, Bhaga Bro, and everyone in the chat. Supporting the channel, you guys really make it a big one. And thank you so much. Love you all. Respect you all. Who has watched, it doesn't take much. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. All the support means a lot. And please, people, do support the channel. Some great content is coming up as well. You will love the content and enjoy it. So please support the channel. Do see my short video on Caicedo and Rice and which play is better for the Chelsea, Arsenal, United. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a great day. Thank you, and up the Blues, up the Chelsea.